Hey everybody, Pancho here. I want to talk to you a little bit about real estate. So I want to start off by yesterday, I delivered the keys to a buyer, just purchased their home, military family, super cool. And we were able to help them throughout the whole buying process. They were super happy, of course. Everything went down pretty smooth. Every time that we deliver keys, we ask them, what do you think about our services? Is there anything that we can improve on or whatever? And the wife said something that was really interesting, which I had actually mentioned to my team earlier that week, which is that they think it's great. They feel great. Everything turned out pretty smooth. They got their house at the terms that they wanted and everything. However, they had no point of comparison because I'm the only agent that they've ever dealt with. So that got me thinking because it's right. And that's probably one of the main reasons why I love working with expired listings. So just so you know, an expired listing is somebody that put their house on the market, hired an agent, agreed to terms, give them a 3-month, 4-month, 5-month, 6-month, maybe a year contract to try to get a home sold. And for some reason or another, they failed and the home never sold, or they didn't get the terms they wanted, and the house ended up coming back off the market and as an expired. It's what it's called, right? So I really enjoy helping people that work with it, that have been in the situation. I feel kind of like a sense of urgency to be able to help them because they've already got such a bad experience, but also because they've actually experienced some other sort of service that when we excel at what we do, they are so much happier than traditional clients that you only work with and they haven't been working with anybody else, so they can't really measure the difference, right? Anyways, that's one of the main reasons why I enjoy working with expires. And today, as I'm calling them, I keep getting the same objections over and over and over, and the same comments, and most of them, I wanted to go over a couple things, and I mainly want to go over the biggest reasons why a home might not sell. I mean, especially in the San Diego market, that really everything should be selling. There's low inventory. Who doesn't want to live in San Diego, right? Well, one of the biggest things that I hear all the time is that exactly that. It's like, hey, you know what? The market is good. The homes sell themselves. And then yet I was looking at the numbers right now, and based on the San Diego County market, there have been, in the last 7 days, and this is February 15th. By the way, I hope you had a nice Valentine's yesterday. Right now, February 15th, in the San Diego County area, in the last 7 days, there was 557 homes sold. Pretty good number in 7 days. 557 homes were closed escrow. In that same time period, in the last 7 days, 184 homes expired. 184 expired and 557 sold. That's 33% of the homes that sold. 33% of the number were actually expired listings. I mean, that's insane. 33% of the contracts that were signed 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago didn't sell. So when somebody tells me, the market is great, homes sell themselves, well, the numbers don't lie, and 33% is a big number. So homes don't really sell themselves, number one. And if they do sell themselves, are you really getting top number, the top dollar amount? Are you selling within this right time frame? Probably not. If this is the number that we're experiencing, and I can tell you why we're experiencing this number, there is an influx. They say, there's a saying in the real estate industry, a good real estate market makes for very bad agents. Happens all the time. The home sales start creeping up. People think, man, this is so easy. I'll get a license. I can sell this. They do it as a part-time basis mainly, which is nothing wrong with that. I started as a part-timer myself, but sometimes you have to just focus on the business, right? And a lot of times these agents that come in, unfortunately not. And that's why this number keeps getting higher and higher and higher, the 33%. Anywho, I'm going to jump into the reasons why, and there's a few others based above and beyond what I'm going to share with you right here. But these, I think, are the main ones, okay? And I'm going to try to go by them as quickly as possible so that I don't bore you to death. Although, if you are in this situation, if you had a house that was on the market and for some reason didn't sell, you might want to pay attention because more than likely, one of these reasons are the reasons why your home didn't sell. So, number one, pricing strategy. And by pricing strategy, I'm not saying just the list price. A lot of times, and this has to do with honesty. A lot of times agents will tell potential listing clients what they want to hear. And it's easy to get a listing contract signed if I tell you that I can sell your $500,000 house for $600,000. You get all excited as a client, all warm and fuzzy, feeling good, and then you sign the contract thinking, woohoo, I'm going to get $600,000. She's telling me, and she's a professional, or he's telling me, and he's a professional. Therefore, this should work, right? Well, what happens when it doesn't work and the house is just sitting there at a high list price and the market doesn't bear it? It just sits there for a longer period of time. And at the end of the day, you're locked into a contract. They managed to win because they got that contract signed, correct? So pricing strategy is very, very important. By pricing strategy, I don't necessarily mean giving it away. Obviously, if you're willing to, because you desperately need to move or something, you price it low. At the end of the day, what ends up happening in this market, because buyers are so many and inventory so low, that when you price a home aggressively on the lower end of the comparative range, you generate what's called multiple offers. When you generate multiple offers, you generate you start off without even wanting to sometimes, kind of like an auction type. You start getting bids and people start competing for it. At that moment, you actually get, as a seller, what the market will bear, because you were able to generate a lot of exposure because of the good price. You generated a lot of interest, and all those people that are interested and qualified are submitting offers, which that allows you to choose the highest and best that you're able to get. And that is what the market bears. If you go overboard, if you go high on the range, and it eliminates a lot of potential buyers because they're like, no, that's crazy, it's high, the market's crazy, if we have to go over that number, it's going to not work, or you know what, the comps are not there, why am I going to overpay for a house, I don't even want to see that. After the house sits there on a period of time, then people start thinking, well, you know what, it's been sitting there for a long time, they don't have offers, let's lowball, let's kill them, let's go out there and submit a low offer. So then, as a seller, you're stuck in a situation like, I'm getting low offers, this isn't working out, it's not what I expected, it's not what my agent told me. So by pricing strategy, you have to be very, very careful. You have to really dig deep on the comps, what has sold in the area, and be honest with yourself, and hopefully the agent is honest with you in telling you what the market is, So next one is commission to the buyer's agent. So a lot of times, again, going back to feeling warm and fuzzy, sellers will feel very comfortable thinking, you know what, if I offer a little bit less commission to the buyer's agent, once it sells, I'm going to get paid more money at the end, right? So, unfortunately, because of this situation, there's a lot of agents that are new to the business, or, the average agent in San Diego, I believe, sells 3 homes a year, right? Call it 4. So say, for example, you're out there as an agent and you're looking to represent a buyer on a home purchase. And the buyer is interested in 2 or 3 different homes. They like this particular home and this particular home, and both of them are pretty much right up there as far as covering their needs and what they want to buy. And they ask their agent for their input. What home will the agent sell? Or say, oh, this is probably the better one. Maybe this isn't the most ethical thing for an agent to do because they're basing it off of their best interest, and unfortunately a lot of agents don't understand that we as agents have a fiduciary legal duty to look out for our client's best interest, but a lot of times they're looking out for their own. So if they have this particular house that pays them 3% commission, which on $500,000 is 15. Now they don't get paid that because there's broker splits and all that stuff. But say it's $15,000 commission, and this other one that pays 2%, that means that they're only going to get paid $10,000 on the exact same price home, same area, same everything. And the client likes both of them. He can't make up his mind. Which one do you think the agent's going to push for? Obviously, probably the one that's going to pay them more money. Especially if that check from that commission represents 25% of their entire annual income. It's pretty impactful stuff. So by lowering the commission, you are eliminating your possibilities of generating that maximum exposure and the multiple offer situation, which is actually going to get you top dollar. A lot of times, to save yourself $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on a commission, you're deterring that potential buyer that might be the one that's willing to pay $10,000, $15,000, maybe even $20,000 more than your list price. So be very careful with that. Again, hopefully your agent is being honest with you and tells you how it works so that you can do it on a proper basis. I've done it multiple times. I've been in situations where the numbers just don't add up for clients and maybe they have a very low equity margin to play with. I will first discount my commission, knowing that I'm going to do the best that I can for their client, and still offer a higher commission to the buyer's agent, higher than what I get paid. Even though I'm the one covering marketing costs and things like that, I would rather do that because it's also going to make my job easier, and I'm going to provide a better result for my client, which is in turn going to generate, hopefully, multiple referrals down the road. So, commission to buyer's agents is another thing. This is pretty simple to understand. Poor marketing. I mean, how can you sell anything if you don't have a good marketing strategy, right? So most of the time, what happens is listing agent comes on board, signs a contract, boom, boom, boom. Everybody's all happy about it. They get excited. They take a few pictures with their cell phone, put it on the MLS, and sit around and twiddle their thumbs to see what happens and expect for other agents to bring in buyers, which typically it's actually the way the homes sell. But if you have a poor poor pricing strategy, a low commission and this and that, and you don't have good marketing involved, like good quality video production, a standalone website for the home, promoting it and sponsoring it on social media sites, cold calling, doing aggressive open houses on it, it's just not going to work, right? So poor marketing, I think, is the biggest thing that people, when I call them, they're like, oh yeah, my agent didn't do anything. They just put on the MLS and nothing happened. We didn't get any buyers. More than likely because there were a few other things that weren't working at the same time. But, I mean, we just sold a house recently where once we closed escrow, the buyer was telling me, man, I'm so happy I bought this house. When I walked in there and when I saw the pictures, I really didn't like it. I hated the color on the paint and this and that. But once they moved in, they made it themselves. They fixed it up a little bit and now they love it. And they were able to get a better deal because it eliminated a lot of potential. That house was on the market, I think, like 75, 80 days. And it was a nice house. So poor marketing goes, good marketing would go a long way, right? In this situation, you want to get, instead of the cell phone pictures, hire a professional to go out there with a good DSLR camera, edit the pictures, good lighting, so that you have all the clarity, good video production that will portray the area, will also showcase the neighborhood and the amenities, kind of tell a story about the lifestyle. Very different from just posting pictures on the MLS and sitting there and waiting, right? The other thing that we have is kind of like part of the poor marketing that I talked about is bad staging or curb appeal. Your agent should be telling you, you know what, declutter. Take away the personalized stuff. Declutter, depersonalize is a big thing. If your agent is saying, oh, no, that's okay, don't worry about it, you don't even need to clean up, I'll take a picture of it, they just want to get the listing. But if they're honest about it and they want to get the best for you, they're going to tell you, you know what, you got to move all this stuff. As much as your kids' pictures look beautiful up there, you probably want to move them. I've had situations where people get turned off about a home that they're looking to buy simply because they had posters of a particular football team on the windows, and they said, I'm never going to do business with somebody that is a big fan of that particular team. And I'm not going to say what team it is, but it starts with R and ends with Aiders. Brenda's laughing. Anyway, so the other thing that affects the property not being sold is false expectations. That goes through everything that I've talked about, your agent not being honest about what really can be done, right? And setting those false expectations, telling somebody their house is worth more, telling somebody that they can get it sold by offering less commission, telling somebody that they don't need to clean up or they don't need to declutter or anything like that. That's just outright lying, and it sets the false expectations to the seller. And when they have that, then once the actual offers start coming in, or once they see the reality, they're like, screw this. This isn't what I signed up for. They just sit there and they're waiting for the results to come in, and end up waiting on them maybe 4, 5, 6 months before they cancel or expire the contract, and then they try to find somebody else like myself to actually help them get the results they want. And then maybe no real motivation to sell. Many times I talk to people that are on the market for a long period of time. The agent took the listing because they want to just take a listing. Maybe they have some sort of a listing fetish. But the reality of it is that I personally won't take a listing if the client is not ready to sell, if they're not really motivated and their expectations are unrealistic, because it's just going to waste my time. I invest a lot of money and time in marketing these homes and cold calling the neighborhood and making sure that they get that exposure. So if the client has false expectations of their own and they're not willing to move, or they say, if it doesn't get sold for this much and it's a false expectation, I don't need to sell, what's the purpose of putting it on the market? I mean, the market's great, but 33% of homes are not selling. 30% of homes that are listed are expiring. So things like that. And then the other one that I've encountered a few times is legal problems. Sometimes there's issues with a divorce, or there was a death in the family and it causes the home to go through probate, or the complex itself for the community is undergoing litigation. There's a lawsuit against the property. And if that happens, then banks don't want to finance it and title companies don't want to insure them. So it becomes what's called like a non-warrantable condo. And in those cases, it just goes back to the motivation of the seller. So if the seller needs to sell, I've dealt with this in the past, they absolutely have to sell, then you figure out sources. We are able to find banks that will finance non-warrantable condos. They take a little longer to close, the interest rates are a little bit higher, and because of that situation, sometimes the seller will have to pay a little bit more commission to incentivize agents to take their clients to that property because they know it's going to be more work, or they need to lower the price a little bit more aggressively just to be able to generate that exposure and just get out of there. Sometimes it's a matter of being relocated for a job and they absolutely can't rent it out, can't keep it, it has to be sold, it has to be sold. And sometimes we find the ways to make sure that it all makes sense, the numbers add up. So at the end of the day, those are the main reasons why a home may not sell. If you have any other ones that you've encountered, let me know. There's a solution to every problem. I'm a big believer in that. And I am a problem solver. I enjoy going in there and getting that challenge, especially because once we are able to close the deal, people really appreciate it. They're like, wow, they're blown away. Like, man, I was on the market for almost a year with somebody else, and we were able to get it sold in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It's a big difference. And there's a method to our madness here with myself and my team that we are able to get the results. I'm very proud to say since 2009, and as of this date, hopefully I don't jinx it, I have not had a single contract for any listing expired. Did I say 2008? I meant 2009. 2009 is when I got licensed. Since 2009, when I got licensed, I have not had a single listing contract that I take expired. 100% have sold. So I'm very proud of the number. I'm not a part of that 33%. I don't know. I just wanted to share this with you guys so you understand that not all realtors are the same, which is the other main thing that people tell me, all realtors do the same thing. Not really. Some of us take a very proactive approach. I'm not the only one in the San Diego market that actually gets out there and works hard to get the home sold and tells the truth. But there are many others that unfortunately don't do it, and is causing this I guess I could call it an epidemic, because it's something that's been happening in the last couple of years, not so much in the past. There've always been expired contracts, just not at this level. So anyways, hopefully you enjoy the video, and if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you think I'm wrong in some way, feel free to tell me, put me on the spot. I appreciate all the feedback, both negative and positive. That's the only way we improve, right? So I hope this was educational for you. And if you have any questions, or if you're looking to sell a home in the San Diego County market, reach out. I'm always text, phone call, smoke signal away. I'm the easiest guy to get a hold of, all right? Take care. Have a great day.